what do you think? Did you see the same?
I saw that, and I'm trying to,
So I'm not going to look here. In her petition to change her name. Was her, she wanted to change it. And then, it's great. Lionel Ryan. So this is her other name. Child's Preston Song. King, please. Papa. No. She's in construction. That place that she lived. Employers. She's working on as long as you don't speak Spanish.
Well, I guess John ain't here, I guess I was talking to.
That's what makes me think. We're worried about the trust members who speak Spanish. We don't even make sure that
correct,
they speak English.
correct.
Keep
Alton
servicing.
will be here at 9:06, so then I want to just wait on him.
As a wife is, it's kind of like the moonlight.
We'll wait for him? Okay.
It's like the moonlight. It's like, it doesn't matter how many names they're still gonna sign the names. And,
I checked, I've
So all
done
you've
twice,
done is
Dante did one as well, so we should be signing them.
personally, I waited until 8 days before I had to renew. So I made it last until 2025. And what did that kick in? I made it last until 2025.
No. Shoot.
It's like crap. I mean, all I had to do was go downstairs. Crap, man. Yeah, that was really and I can access this. I have, when I was with the Attorney General's office, I was able to look at people's documents that were used for identification. As an attorney general. And I'm thinking of the people.
That's part.
You know who that is? You know who's the attorney general now? Is that the guy who's gonna sue California because somebody had a driver's license? Because they spoke Spanish? You know, come on now. Does he know?
They're black together. He probably, no, he probably broke them. And that's his fix. Yeah. Yeah. No, he probably broke them, and that's his way of fixing it. I can't do that. Yeah. I can.
You want to?
Well, I can bring it if you need to.
Okay,
You
I've
want me
got
to
it.
speak to it?
I can speak to, I've got to sign, I didn't know if it was as far as boundaries were at.
Yeah.
.com, continue forward.
So.
Morning.
No, this is a final. Oh, okay. And his sign. We have to, I can bring it up.
Here it is. That was one that
No, it's on the same
it
side.
was on the restitution.
Restitution line. Cause he paid his, additional.
You waiting on Al?
Alton, yeah. He said he would be here in a couple minutes, basically, so. Nash said we'll wait for him.
Well, good, Sean. Congratulations. We're not related. I don't.
Okay.
I tried to call him.
Oh, we got the same last name. We had something somewhere. Something Dost.
Yeah, I didn't see what the voicemail was
Well, you might be
disconnected.
related somehow. You just don't know.
My boss, when I worked for, my first boss, when I worked for the Attorney General's office, one of my first bosses, his last name was Madison. I said,
Casey.
Northeast? His cousins are from, yeah. They're great.
Bobby didn't have a voicemail set up, it's just said the number's been disconnected, but he's also not here, so. I'll make one more. One more attempt.
He wasn't coming. He was not coming. Remember when we talked to him, we were like, well, if he can't make it.
That's right. Okay, so then I'll just read it off.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a discussion we're gonna have with them. Cause, I mean, I'm anticipating that they'll be okay with that. It's in the future.
Here, Jen, you don't mind? Use one.
You have everything up?
Can you just email it to me real quick? Yeah, just email it. I should have that, right? It'll be in my email. I'll just
I
look it
don't
up.
know. There you go.
Email it to me.
I'll do it.
I mean, it's short. There's not much to it.
Man, I missed that.
That's it. Mhm.
Okay. Hi.
Close it.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
A school bus wreck.
I did. I keep meaning to cross the hall. Yes, I love it.
I saw it.
Yeah, I'll read the,
Well, I have a photo of
you'll call the order, I read the.
share the love.
Yes, I put up the gator report.
We'll do the pledge.
Yes.
This meeting's called to order. Apologize for a few minutes being late there. If you would, let's stand and say the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, do we have a determination of quorum this morning?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, with 8 members present, we do.
Okay, thank you. Do we have proof of publication?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, it was published on August 28th, 2025 in the Pensacola News Journal.
Thank you. And do we have someone to motion for the approval of minutes from the August 6th meeting?
The minutes were not received in time for the agenda, so we'll be approving those at our next scheduled meeting.
We can make that happen.
Okay, we move into our public forum. You have 3 minutes if you would like to speak today, and we ask you to be respectful of everybody else's time when you do this. Do we have anybody signed up today?
We did not receive any speaker request forms. I believe everyone present is an item on the agenda.
Okay. If there's not, if someone would like to speak in the public forum, if you would let us know right now. Don't see anybody, so we will move forward. Board Secretary Status Report, Madam Secretary.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, we have 4 board members who are coming up to the end of their term. All 4 board members are seeking reappointment. From the advertisement, we did not receive any additional candidates. I'm still waiting to hear back on others, but an agenda item will go before the county commissioners on the September 16th meeting in regards to appointments to the competency board.
Okay, then we'll let us know from there. They will let us know from there.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Okay. So we moved into our contractor applications today.
Sir. Good morning, board members. So our first applicant today would be Mr. Bobby Brock. Mr. Brock was unable to be in attendance today, but we determined that would be sufficient based on last month's meeting. If you'll recall from last month's meeting, the applicant did appear before you requesting to reciprocate his general contractor's license. Based on experience, the board did not approve the reciprocity. However, Mr. Brock was encouraged to apply for examination for building contractor, which is why it appears before you today. He does come before you with 7 years, 2 months, and 1 day of experience working under Chris Brown of Shooting Stars Construction, license number RG0019314. And based upon last month's meeting, staff will defer to the board for approval.
If you remember, his was last month, he came up and had no experience as a general contractor and decided that he would come back as a building contractor for a license. So, does anybody have any discussion on this?
And just to remind the board, this is the path that the board encouraged him to
Right.
take at that time.
Right.
Motion to approve?
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, hearing none, motion is approved unanimously. Do I?
He said he did his heavy lifting, that's good.
Good morning, Board. Our next applicant appearing before you today is Mr. Marcos Martinez. And Mr. Martinez, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Is Mr. Martinez here?
Yeah, he's not present at the current moment, although we did call and confirm with him on yesterday. But we will proceed with the.
We can
that's
come
okay
back
with
to him
you
if
all.
he gets here.
Wonderful. All right, I'll just proceed with the next applicant, if I may.
Sure.
All right, thank you so much. All right, the next applicant is Vonche Hall. Mr. Hall, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Von Shahel. Record is 10231 Walbridge Street.
Wonderful. All right, and Mr. Hall appears before you today submitting an application for examination for
Dante.
the,
Hale,
Mr. Hale?
there you go.
My
Hale.
apologies. Yes, Mr. Hale, my apologies. Appears before you today submitting an application for the examination for the master plumber with gas examination. And he appears before you today with 7 years, 5 months, and 22 days of experience. He's working under the license holder, Mr. Marcus Rivers, with a license number of RF 11067397. And based on the documentation submitted and the years of experience provided, staff recommendation is for approval of the applications of the applicant's request for examination.
Would you like to tell us anything, say anything?
Well, I've been doing plumbing with my dad since I was like 12. So I've been out there for a long time. I'm a real hands-on person, so I love plumbing. I love everything about plumbing. I love seeing customers' reactions after they see something that looks really unfixable. Then you fix it and they be like, "Oh my God, you're such a blessing." So I love that reaction. So yeah, that's pretty much it about it. I just love what I do. Yes, sir.
Anybody have a question for Mr. Hale? Not Mr. Hall.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, hear none. Mr. Hale, you've been approved. Congratulations,
Thank you.
man.
I appreciate
It's good
it.
to
Thank
see
you.
somebody coming up behind like that.
Yes, sir.
Really
Thank
it is.
you. Thank
Hope the best.
Board members, if I may interject for just a moment, I did speak with Mr. Martinez. He will be here in 11 minutes, according to, I guess, the GPS. So he is coming.
Good deal. Thank you.
All right, if we may, Board, our next applicant to appear before you will be Mr. Stephen Andrews. Mr. Andrews, if you'll please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name's Stephen Andrews. My address is 4754 Autumndale Drive, Pace, Florida.
Mr. Andrews appears before you today requesting to reciprocate his roofing license from Santa Rosa County. He has held his roofing license number RC 290-27933, 2 years, 5 months, and 7 days at the time of submittal of the application. The license was issued through Santa Rosa County after passing the roofing exam with a score of 82%. He has also passed business and finance through Pearson VUE. These test scores have been included in the application packet for your reference. Mr. Andrews has also submitted his transcripts from the University of West Florida. He was awarded a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration and Bachelor's of Science in Exercise Science. Mr. Andrews did answer yes to prior criminal charges, and he has provided copies of the court record along with written explanation. Based upon Mr. Andrews utilizing his experience combined with college experience and the criminal charges, staff will defer to the board for approval or denial of the application for reciprocity.
Good morning, Mr. Andrews. Would you like to address the board this morning?
Yeah, so I've been up here once. Last year I came up here to try to reciprocate my license, and what you guys had said was that I needed to either take your guys' test or go and take the state test. So what I did was I found the city ordinance for Escambia County, and number 2 says the applicant examination must be equivalent to the examination given to Escambia County for the license salt. And somebody, I'm not sure who, but you guys said that it was from the same test bank as Santa Rosa's, so it's the exact same test. So that was, I don't know, I mean, I just feel like I have all 3 of the qualifications that meet for your city ordinance.
Board, if you remember, Mr. Andrews did come before you, and he had already passed the examinations.
Right.
The examinations were not the issue at the time.
Right.
It had more so to do with his experience. The board questioned
Right.
his hands-on experience.
Right. And I have several questions myself here. Who owns B&W Construction?
I do.
I know, I've done a little research. I've found that he's the owner of that. Who is the verification of experience? Do we allow self-attestation in our county?
Self-verification can be provided in proof of a license being issued. If a person has held their license for a period of 4 years or more, that would qualify them for reciprocity in Escambia County. Mr. Andrews has held his license for 2+ years, correct?
2 years, 5 months, 7 days? Mhm.
Yes.
At the time of application,
right.
he applied.
And I've had my CRC for almost 3.
Right. So he was using his licenses as self-verification, which is acceptable.
After 4 years?
you can use it as a portion of those years as well.
But wouldn't on the 489, so number 2, I believe, on that, it says 3 years of college experience and 1 year foreman experience. So, you know, I have 2 college degrees.
Yes, sir, and that is what's before the board
Right,
today,
right.
is a combination of college experience as well as hands-on experience.
I just want to make sure we're very clear. That's the reason why I'm asking these questions, is that, first of all, I didn't know we allowed self-attestation in the county where you verify your own experience. That's a very gray area that even the state is going back and going to revoke what they done a couple years ago, because that's at the state level. But at the county level, do we allow that?
So, for example, you hold a general contractor's license for a period in excess of 4 years. A general contractor can sign an affidavit for a roofer, a residential, a building contractor. So that general contractor wants to obtain their own individual roofing license. We could use, that is a form of self-verification, is them holding that GC's license for a period of in excess of 4 years, to say that they have the experience to sit for the examination for roofing.
Right. But there's a time frame in there included as well, correct? Of 4 years?
The Escambia County requires 4 years of
Right.
experience, yes,
And
sir.
So I'm not trying to, we don't want to sound like we're going against you, Mr. Andrews, at all, but I'm trying to make sure we're in the right confines here. So the 4 years is the education years and this?
So there are multiple ways to obtain that 4 years
Right,
of experience.
right.
It can be a combination of hands-on experience, foreman, college credits, even some military experience.
Right. There's a big thing.
There's,
And
and
they can run concurrent, is that right?
it doesn't actually delve
don't
that
say?
deep
Okay.
into it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry for all the questions, but I just want to make sure we don't do something, set a precedence that we haven't done in the past and then wind up being, you know. Everybody understanding all the questioning, everything we're doing, trying to. Okay, any for the board have any questions for Mr. Andrews or for staff?
I would just like to say that this is the only county I am not doing roofs in. We've been doing them in the city, Walton, Okaloosa County, Santa Rosa County. You know, we're just going doing a roof right after I get done with this, you know. I mean, we do good work, you know. I mean, we just had a third-party inspector come through, and he was like, man, this is rock solid, you know. Like, you know, I mean, like I said, we don't do bad work. I'd rather pay somebody a little bit more, make a little bit less money. I can go enjoy my family, you know. I just want to grow my business, you know, and I want to do good work here, you know. So, and I've heard questionable stuff with some of these people, and I want to try to, you know, make it a better place for everybody, you know. And another thing I was really wanting to try to get into was trying to help some of these people that can't, you know, pay for their roofs and stuff like that. You know, we just helped this elderly lady, and it really hit my heart, you know. Like, she couldn't afford it, she lost her insurance, and we charged her $2,000 for a brand new roof, you know. And, you know, I mean, it hurt me a little bit, but I mean, at the same time, it was like, it was awesome, you know. A lot of people need that, you know.
Mr.
We'll always
Andrews?
come back to you.
I have a question for you, and this may help them. Since the time of having your roofing license, how many roofs would you say you've done, or have they been commercial, residential? Give them a breakdown of what all you've done.
So we've done standing seam, we've done exposed seam, we've done tile. I've done one tile, and mostly it's been asphalt, but and exposed seam. But yeah, we've been doing a lot of metal, a lot of shingles. not many tile. We did get one, but I mean, it's ridiculously expensive, so a lot of people don't want that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other board member have a question? Or?
I just want to say, I hear the passion in your voice, and I love hearing that. And
Yeah.
thank you for having a heart for community.
Yeah, no,
Sincerely. And I want to say, fantastic job with 2019 on, like truly fantastic job with your transcript. It's
Thank you.
wonderful seeing your progression and
Yeah.
everything.
No,
in
it-
life and academics and work.
yeah.
That's
Hey,
wonderful.
It takes a little trigger, but once it triggers, it takes off,
Absolutely. Love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Mary?
I have a question about your insurance with Next Insurance. Is this specific for contracting, general contracting, or is it specific for roofing?
It's an overall for my business for construction.
Okay, so with this particular company, only because, well, that's my background, but also I know this particular carrier.
Okay,
They're very specific about excluding roofing.
are they?
So I would venture that we need to get verification that you have that.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely, I would, yeah. Because I think you had said that last time, and what I did, I actually submitted the wrong thing, because when I went for my license the first time, they did it as personal instead of under the business, and then I think I submitted everything that to you,
Not to me, yeah.
or whoever. I submitted it to you guys, and somebody said that the insurance was wrong, so that's what I was thinking, it was like that. But I will double check that for sure, I appreciate that.
Yeah, because they're gonna exclude all roofing.
You're the,
all-
It's part of the backup, isn't it? You have
Yeah,
the
I-
backup? But
I'm-
you can't tell from the policy. Okay.
Not the COI that was given. We'd have to see you guys would have to look at the policy to make sure that that roofing exclusion isn't there, because it's automatic with this particular
With
company.
that insurance company. Gotcha.
It's just this particular carrier.
okay. I appreciate you letting me know about that.
Good experience up here. Okay. Any other questions, anything? I will entertain a motion for somebody.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, hear none. Motion is approved
Yes, sir.
unanimously. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
We're making a note of that, Mary, for next time, that we see, for next time we see that name next.
Yeah,
Next insurance.
it's just that one carrier, and they're so specific about it, that they exclude all roofing activities. So you need to make sure that it's really covered, because if not, he's gonna be in trouble if something happens.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll double check as soon as I get out of here.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, guys.
It's my understanding that Mr. Martinez has shown up. Do we want to circle back to him, or? Chairman?
Yes.
Okay,
We can
thank
do that.
All righty, Mr. Martinez, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Marcos Nunez, 8136 Pittman Avenue. That's in Pensacola, 32534, in
All
the state
right.
of Florida.
Yes, sir. Mr. Martinez appears before you today submitting an application for the examination for the general contractor's examination. And he appears before you today with 5 years, 10 months, and 13 days of experience working under license holder, I believe it's pronounced Judd Harville. Did I say that right, Mr. Harville? Harville? Thank you so much. With license number CGC 1524182. Mr. Martinez has also provided copies of his Alabama licensure that issued through the Alabama Licensing Board for general contractors. And based on the documentation provided, staff recommendation is for approval of the applicant request for examination.
Good morning, Mr. Martinez. Would you like to address the board this morning?
Yes, sir.
Was there anything you'd like to tell us?
No, really, I mean.
You don't have to. You don't have
Yeah,
to.
no.
We just give you a chance to.
Oh, yeah. It's my first time over here, so
It's okay. Have a question?
My thing's not working. That's okay. Could you let us know a little bit of what type of work you did with Harville?
framing and siding. That is most of the stuff that we do, framing and siding.
How many jobs have you done with them?
About 4
Four.
hotels.
That, good question. That's what I've got. So you done framing and siding, right?
Correct.
Whoever signed this says general contractor duties and responsibilities. That's a pretty big reach for framing and siding to be general contractor duties and responsibilities. If you look on experience verification form,
I can bring that up.
thank you. I think it's page 4, maybe.
And there you are.
I know just working for Harville, I've worked for different general contractors, like a Person Service Corp, and I've done different things for them. It's not just framing and siding. We do paint, drywall, tile, not
Have-
too much roof.
Have you ever been involved in project management, like being a superintendent
Yeah.
and all those things, being
Yes, sir.
over a whole bunch of crews?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That is my job.
Because we run into this here in this particular board. The general contractor is like the highest level of multi-story building,
Yeah,
that you have to have experience in that, even at the state level, to get those licenses. And, there's 3 tiers: residential, building, and general.
Yeah, what I do, most of the stuff that I do is, for a Harville, for example, I do the Holiday Inn on Gold Breeze and Sea Glass on Gold Shore. That is a 4 stories building. And, we start from zero.
Anybody else have questions?
Can you describe to us, on a weekly basis, what kind of duties do you perform? What do you do when you come in, and how do you lay out your day, and just, in general, your tasks? What's a normal day and what's a normal week?
For example, if we're trying to start a project, first thing we do is have a safety meeting and talk about what we need about the project and how we're going to proceed with the construction. And then we start the layout and trying to do the wall framing, all safe and everything.
Do you look at in construction drawings?
Yeah. Yeah, that is one. All the layout, I do the layout
For the
And that-
framing and stuff?
for framing.
That's what I'm kind of trying to get at, and you say we as a group. What are your functions? What are your duties?
I'm the one who do I'm basically I'm the supervisor. I make sure that all the drawings are correct, all the measurements are correct, the place that they were supposed to be, and that all the project safe and everything, all the structural stuff. I'm the one responsible for if anything happened or if anything wrong, that is my fault.
But you don't coordinate like a plumber, you don't schedule a plumber, heat and air,
No, I do.
you do that also?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Anybody else have any comments? Mr. Wiseman.
I don't have any comments, but the concern is probably the exact job scope you have with Harville. He's done a lot of our communities, hotels, that's the reason I asked. What he does, I don't know if it's junior or senior you're working at, probably junior is who you're working with. But I want to be very clear that getting a general contractor's license is just a lot more than being out on a job site and managing the builder or some of the trades. There's a lot more complex that goes to it. There's a huge financial aspect to it also, right? There's a huge responsibility aspect to it. Not saying that you can't do it. So that would be my only concern, and not specifically knowing exactly, because what Harville's put down on here is very vague. It says contractors' duties and responsibilities. I would think that if it would specify a little more in detail what your job scope is, I would feel more comfortable in approving the application.
Okay.
And again, I'm not saying that, not for him to change his scope of work or your scope of work. That would be my recommendation, is that, hey, if you can't have Harville identify specifically a little more in detail what you have done, it would give me a satisfaction of saying yes.
Yeah, I got two more recommendation letter. I don't know if you guys have that ones.
Yeah, but I think Harville's license is the one that's qualifying you, actually saying, could you work for him? I see the Alabama state licenses that you have.
That's Harville's.
Harville's, and I got another one that which belong to Crucible and the personal service.
Yeah, I see those.
I will say, to be fair, to get in front of people that you don't know and to be asked, questions, it does get a little intimidating. And so he started with the framing and siding, but he did describe the general contractor duties and responsibilities, like, kind of taking it out from him. So I know it is difficult to get up in front of a lot of people and speak. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that's my first time over here, so.
Yes, absolutely.
Can I say something?
No.
I'm new on the board, and so I don't know, what our customary, backup is. Personally, for the general contractor level, I'd like to see, a number of jobs, description of the jobs and description of your duties, just something a little bit more in detail that covers, the 5 years. I don't know if that's something that we can ask for or not, but it'd make me feel more comfortable.
And I think it is something that we can ask for.
It is.
Specifically like what he's saying. So, and I remember back when I applied for my general contractor's license, I worked with a general contractor. And I specified on that application what specific hotels were built and what that job scope, what I did as a job scope on those hotels. And, so just kind of gives us a comfort feeling also, not knowing what your day-to-day, I know you're describing it to us, and you did a good job describing it, but still, it's not, legitified until it's on paper.
Okay.
We're not challenging you, want to make sure you feel
Oh,
that,
man,
but
yeah, that's
we
fine.
just want to, it's our responsibility to protect the public. And if we didn't do this deep dive and somebody wasn't qualified, and you may be more than qualified, but if they weren't and then they got in trouble with something, then, it looks bad on us as a board for just letting anybody go through. I would suggest at this point, I'll defer to the board to verify this, but for us to either get another letter from Harville or something here to give a better in-depth explanation of what these job responsibilities are. Is that okay, Ms. Christie, if we ask for that? Is that within our scope?
Yes, you're the one that makes the decision. What I was looking up to see if I could help the board is what the language in the general contractor. I know that you may have looked at it because you've applied for it, but the requirements of the general contractor for the state of Florida means a contractor whose services are unlimited as to the type of work which he or she may do, who may contract for any activity requiring licensure under this part, and who may perform any work requiring licensure under this part. And that means sheet metal, roofing, all the air conditioned classes, mechanical contractor, commercial pool, residential pool, swimming pool, spa service, plumbing, underground utility, solar contractor, pollutant storage systems. So there are it's a
Right.
very large scope
It's a high
for what
bar.
they have to be able to do. That doesn't mean, now, the smart general contractor is never gonna take all that on. But that may give the board an understanding of, those are the things that you need to be looking at when he gives his description, and those are the things they're looking for, is to find out what is your experience in all these areas, and what have you done to,
Yeah,
even
'cause-
though you may not be the one who does it, and you can contract for it, can you do it?
Correct, yeah,
So-
because that is what we normally do, you know, we look for different subcontractors, and then, you know, we pass the job to them, and we supervise that everything is going well, you know, like the way that it's supposed to be.
Right, but that's what I'm trying to, that's the thing. Florida requires you to have the ability to do it yourself and able to be a general contractor. Whether you subcontract it out, that's up to you, but you have to be, that's the specific language within Florida's law, which is who may perform any work requiring licensure. So that includes all those categories. It allows you to do that work. So if you're going to be able to do that work, you have to understand it. And I think that's what they're asking of you. Explain to them your experience so that they can look at that in more detail. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am, very much. That's the reason why we are as deep in our diving as we are here to question, because general contractors have very much higher scope than a building contractor, definitely more than a residential. So we want to make sure that we're on the right page. We would need a motion from the board to seek more verification, or would we just have I think we would need a motion, correct?
I think that would just be a directive to
Just
staff
directive.
to allow for Mr. Martinez to obtain additional supporting documentation and to bring this back.
So from the board, is that a consensual thing that we, agree on pretty much? Just a straw vote type thing here to say, is that, okay. So we're not saying no, we're just saying we'd like to have a little more information,
Okay.
okay? And I think that the staff can help you with what we're looking for. These guys can
Okay,
make sure we're on the right path here.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you, man.
All right, board members, our next applicant to appear before you is Mr. Casey Huston. Mr. Huston, if you will please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, sir.
Mr. Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Casey Houston, 6956 Santa Clara Drive, Navarre, Florida.
Mr. Houston appears before you today requesting to reciprocate his residential contractor's license from Santa Rosa County. He comes before you today with 1 year, 4 months, and 18 days of experience working for MD Eggers Construction out of Des Moines, Iowa. License number C128344. I did call the Iowa Licensing Department and verified that the qualifier's license was issued November the 14th, 2017, which would meet the state's requirement of 4 years. They also confirmed with me that the Iowa license type does allow for single-family new construction, which would be similar to our requirements set forth in 489-105. In addition to his experience under MD Eggers Construction, Mr. Houston did serve in the United States Air Force and has provided a copy of his DD-214 paperwork to utilize for the additional years needed for his experience. Staff's recommendation is to defer to the board for approval.
Ms. Huston, would you like to address the board this morning?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity. I understand it's kind of a non-standard application as far as years of experience. So just a brief history on myself. Grew up in Iowa, farm boy, rural Iowa. Worked on framing crews my entire life. My father owned a site work excavation business. We put in septic systems, underground systems. When I was in college, I went to a 4-year college, got a bachelor's degree in exercise science, played football, worked for an HVAC company, figured out I didn't want to do HVAC. Wasn't my thing. Joined the military, did 20 years as an officer, pilot, My last assignment was a support squadron commander, where we managed projects with budgets upwards of $2 to $3 million in support of all the operational squadrons. Spent most of my time down here at Hurlburt Field in special operations. When I retired, I decided we wanted to move back home. My wife's from Des Moines, Iowa as well. Realized we'd spent too much time on the beach, wanted to move back. But while I was up there, I worked for my father-in-law. He's owned a construction company up there for about 35 years, specializes in historical renovations. Has his own custom mill workshop, so built cabinetry, trim, managed all the jobs for him for about, it says that, I think I cut it off a little bit short, it was right at 2 years is what I did for him. Mostly the project management side of the house. He didn't do any new construction. That's not really my desire either. I really like the renovation piece. So we moved back here. I continue to work for the military. I do probably 50% of my time is spent as a contract consultant supporting special operations, and then the other 50% of the time I don't always know what to do with my hands. I might drive my wife crazy, so I've been subbing myself out to other general contractors or residential contractors in the Navarre area, just working for them. A couple of them are either closing up shop or moving state, so they've had a couple customers contact me on, hey, would you like to do some other jobs for us? So that's why I pursued my Santa Rosa County residential license, obtained that, and then since then I've gotten a couple requests over in Escambia County, so I figured I'd give it a shot, see if I could get the reciprocity and just do the small scale kind of renovation type work in my free time. That's pretty much it. So.
First of all, thank you for your military service.
I appreciate that,
Sincerely,
sir.
we thank you for that. We respect that very much.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions on this for Mr. Huston? I'll entertain a motion from someone.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none here, the motion's been approved. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All righty. Our next applicant appearing before you today will be Mr. James D. Vornaz. Mr. Vornaz, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Good morning. My name is James Vernos, 1323 Chemstrand Road, Cantonment, Florida.
Mr. Vernos?
Vernos.
Yes, he appears before you today. I'm requesting to reciprocate for his marine contractor license from Santa Rosa County, and he appears before you today with 12 years, 5 months, and 8 days of experience working under John Loftus with the license number MC0999999. As this is a reciprocity, the staff is deferring to the board for approval of his reciprocity application.
Would you like to address the board this morning?
Well, I like what I do. I've worked for John since 2012, and that's all I've ever done. So I like it.
If you survive with him that long, you're...
John's a good guy.
He's a
Really
great
good
guy. I'd say that jokingly. Yeah. He's a friend of mine.
I hate to go against him. I'm not going against him. It's, getting my license. Yeah. He's been like a dad to me.
Yeah, he speaks highly of you. So, anybody from the board have any questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, hear none. Motion's been approved unanimously. Congratulations.
very
man.
much.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Board members, our final individual to appear before you today is Mr. James Freeman. Mr. Freeman, if you will please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record, sir.
James B. Freeman. You say address too?
Yes, sir.
4201 Auckland Road in Pace, Florida, 32571.
Our final item to appear before you today is not an application for examination or for reciprocity, but rather an application to reinstate permitting privileges in Escambia County. Mr. Freeman had his permitting privileges revoked in Escambia County January 27th, 2025 for failure to pay fines or make restitution payments for case numbers 230-670-COM and 2312123-COM. Since this time, Mr. Freeman has paid restitution in full in the amount of $263,257.44. Copies of that payment have been included in this application, and staff will defer to the board for approval or denial of the reinstatement of Mr. Freeman's reinstatement of his permitting privileges.
If I may, before you get started, currently Mr. Freeman has a case that's your previous order, not the restitution, the final order in restitution, but the final order that was issued in, let me pull the date on that. That was issued on April 9th of 2024. I believe, Mr. Lister, you'll recall that we had a hearing before the Board of County Commissioners on that. But it also, there's an appeal that's pending in circuit court that was filed by Mr. Freeman's attorney, and that appeal is still pending. And under the Florida rules of appellate procedure, under judicial review of administrative action, once that gets moved from within, once it moves from into the appellate court, only appellate court can give you jurisdiction, unless it's a matter like you had reserved over restitution, that restitution question. But at the point that it becomes, once it goes to the appellate court, you no longer have concurrent jurisdiction to make any actions on that final order, the one that's up on appeal. It's a logical conclusion, since if you were to take action on something that's being considered, and then the court were to rule against you on that order, then you've made a decision on something the court is still trying to decide on. So I wanted to make sure the court was aware. He may not be aware that it's still out there because there's been no action taken in the case in quite a while. So I just needed to make you
So
aware.
just for our layman understanding here, because it's in appellate court, it's out of our jurisdiction to make any rulings until they make their decision, correct?
As far as, right, part of your original ruling, what they're challenging on part of your original ruling was whether or not there was substantive evidence to support your ruling and whether or not you applied the correct law. And so if you didn't apply the correct law according to the appellate court and it were reversed on the appeals court, then you've made a decision on something that shouldn't have been in existence in the first place. So until the appellate court resolves that case and he can have his attorney withdraw the appeal, like I said, there's been no action taken in a very long time. So, but
Are you understanding, Ms. Freeman? Good to see you, by the way, and glad you're doing okay. But so we can't make any move on this until the appellate court case has been either heard, finished, or thrown out, withdrawn?
Right. Dismissed.
I shouldn't say that. Dismissed, yeah. So, but a dismissal would have to come from Mr. Freeman's side?
So that's up to his attorney. So
That's what I'm
either
saying. That would have to come from his side, right?
Well, the court could dismiss it
Okay.
on their own. Mr. Freeman's attorney could file a voluntary dismissal to allow it to come back before you. Or the court could hear it and decide that it needs to come back to you for a review of the facts that you based your decision on. So there's several options, but once it divests, once the appellate case is filed, your authority to look at it is divested.
So we don't have any option ourselves
You
today,
don't
Mr.
have a
Freeman?
temporary or anything.
I would have to defer to our legal.
No,
Ms.
because the
Gold.
order for which this was based on is what's being reviewed.
Gotcha. So the only way for us to make any move would be for his attorney to file for dismissal, or the appellate court go ahead and rule other words, there had to be some action at that level, not,
So what would have to happen is the appellate court would have to divest jurisdiction, which means they've resolved it, they've said it can come back to you. It's resolved or it's been sent back, either way. That's the only way it could get back into your ability
into
to
our
look at it.
hands to do anything.
We don't have the jurisdiction nor the authority at this point.
Oh, need to hear it from you.
Mr. Freeman, I would ask, just please be respectful to us. I
Yeah.
understand it's been a tough
Well,
thing
it's
for
just
you,
aggravating. We
and
go and pay it off, and now I can't get the license.
we've been very respectful to you over the years of being in here. I feel like we have, and we want to continue doing that sincerely. You have a great name. I told you this before, and we're not
Amen.
here to tarnish that. We're here to try to do what's right, and from what we're
Name's
hearing
not
from our
been
legal,
tarnished.
we don't have a choice here today. This is nobody up here's decision, input is into this. This is totally out of our hands. It's something to deal with the legal beyond us. I think so. Let me just make sure. I don't want to, I promise you, I want to keep everything just right here because we don't want to legally get, is it okay for his daughter, right? To speak?
Sure. I mean, anyone can,
Because this
she's
is not
here
a
on the tape.
legal, we got to swear in nothing. This is just, right? You don't have to swear nothing in for this. This is just discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Question, just to clarify.
Sure.
So if the attorney, or they get it dismissed, can you make a decision today that he will, like, as soon as we get that paperwork to you, that he has the ability and his permitting privileges are reinstated?
According to what I'm hearing, and again, legal will have to clear up, we can't do anything until that's done. Is that correct?
Right, they can't weigh it or look at the facts on it. They can't do anything because it is not within their powers to look at it until the appellate court says, okay, we're done with this case, and you can look at it.
But when they look at it, like, can you make the
Then he
decision
can come back.
today that?
That's what I'm
You
saying,
just
is
say-
they can't
set it
make a
all up.
decision today
You gotta come back on another Wednesday.
until
Yes, sir.
after the appellate court has divested. They can't say, well, if the appellate court comes back this way, we'll make this decision.
And they're making the decision of whether the competency board filed the correct actions?
In the,
That-
right, the final order that was issued in April of last year, that's what was appealed by his attorney.
Yeah,
So-
to verify, like, if the procedural process was carried through properly.
Whether they applied the correct law.
Okay.
And there was subsequent action, but that action was based on there was another action that was taken in early 2025, but that was based on an issue which would they reserved jurisdiction was, which I don't have that order in front of me, but I believe it was over the restitution. So that was they had reserved on restitution. Basically, they reserved on anything which they would have legal authority to look at. The restitution, what was being challenged was whether or not the court had relied by his attorney, whether or not the board had relied on the proper law and the proper evidence. And the argument was they had not because they had considered, their argument was because they had considered confidential documents. What his attorney considered confidential documents, which was settlement, what his attorney described as settlement documents. So that's what his attorney is arguing to the board, to the circuit court. But that has been stalled for a long time. He filed it in June of 2024 on a hearing that had occurred in April of 2024.
Yeah.
So, and he filed it not as a direct appeal, as an appeal by right, but as a writ of certiorari, so we can't even respond to it until the court tells us whether or not we need to respond.
Okay.
So it's
I
his
just
attorney
wanted
that
to
needs to
clarify.
make a decision on what they're gonna do.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you.
Is
Sure.
that understandable then, Mr. Freeman? Okay, so we will just wait to see what happens with that then before we can do anything.
It could be the case that should we receive documentation, we could call maybe a special session. I can communicate with you about that at a later date, should things be provided. I'm just trying to.
Of course, we would treat this like anyone else. So
Correct.
That'll be the decision.
Correct, if they were
That
to
should-
request that,
I'm
yes.
just saying that's something you should weigh when you make that decision, that anyone, anyone should be treated the same as anyone else.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Legal, Legal Beagle, is that what they call it? For bringing our attention to that, because there were some questions about it, and that's perfect. And I will make a statement that I will always try to make sure that everyone's respectful to our board members, because I feel like everyone in here is right heart and intention of what they're doing, so I am proud to do that. Anything else from our contract and application guys?
Well, I know we went quickly
Miss Melissa
with
just took a
James.
vacation today.
Oh. She's out.
I know, vacation day for her.
I forgot to say this, but looking over the recommendations for James, I just wanted to say you had fantastic recommendations. I mean, stellar singing of praises. Seriously, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you.
Yep.
To answer your question, sir, that will conclude our applicants for the day.
Okay. Thank you, guys. It appears we have nothing else left on the agenda today. Madam Secretary?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all so much.